Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hopefully, all of you are safe and are enjoying good health. I am Rehan Yaqub Kiani and I welcome all of you to my online lecture series. Dear students, I am going to teach you the chemistry of first year this year, and the book which you are going to follow is the textbook of chemistry grade 11 by National Book Foundation. Dear student, this is our first chapter and the first lecture, which is about stoichiometry. Before going to the brief introduction of stoichiometry, we will discuss the basic concepts or basic objectives of this chapter, the basic concepts which are being discussed in this chapter, and you have to go through them. These concepts are: number one, introduction to stoichiometry, in which we will discuss what is stoichiometry and what are stoichiometric calculations, etc. Then we have number of moles and all the calculations related to moles. Then Avogadro's number and calculations related to it. Then percentage composition and its calculations, and molar volume and its calculation, Gay-Lussac law and its basic requirements, the limiting reagent and calculation, and the final one is the yield and its calculations. First of all, we have the first topic, which is the introduction of stoichiometry. Dear students, first of all, we will justify the word stoichiometry. Dear students, stoichiometry can be defined as: the word stoichiometry is composed of two Greek words. Number one is stoichon, which means elements, and number two, the metry, which means the measurement. So collectively, we can define stoichiometry as the branch of chemistry that deals with the quantitative relationship between reactants and products in a balanced chemical reaction. For example, you have a reaction in which 2 moles of hydrogen and 1 mole of oxygen react with one another to produce 2 moles of water. Dear students, you have studied, you have learned that there are 2 moles of hydrogen and 1 mole of oxygen to produce 2 moles of water. You can see here, you are studying a quantitative relationship. You are studying the numbers of number of moles of reactants and products, means you are studying quantity of the reactants and products. So this is a balanced chemical reaction. You can see here there are 4 hydrogen and there are 4 as well. Similarly, there are 2 oxygen, and in the products there are 2 oxygen too. So you are studying the quantitative relationship between the reactants and the products in a balanced chemical reaction. So this is what we called as the stoichiometry. Similarly, you can see here you have propane and it is being reacted with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide in water. This is actually a combustion reaction in which propane molecule is combusted, is burned to carbon dioxide in water. You can see here they are also balanced. Similarly, in daily life, for cooking, you need all the basic ingredients in a proper manner, in a proper quantity. Similarly, in making sandwiches, burgers, etc., you should also need proper ingredients for proper manufacturing of these things. So discussing the daily life or the chemical reactions in the laboratory, you should have the concept of quantity, the exact value, exact number, exact moles, exact grams of the reactants or products. This study is known as stoichiometry. Then you have the stoichiometric calculations. Dear students, before going to perform the stoichiometric calculations, you have the knowledge of basic ideas. How can you perform the stoichiometric calculations? What are the basic requirements for stoichiometric calculation? Is it that you can perform at any circumstances? No. You have to follow some conditions in order to perform stoichiometric calculations. Number one, for performing stoichiometric calculations, you must know the basic concept that there are some assumptions, there are some concepts, there are some possible conditions which you have to apply during the stoichiometric calculation. Dear students, you can only perform stoichiometric calculations when you have to assume the following ideas. Number one, in order to perform stoichiometric calculation, you have to assume that all the reactants must be converted into products. Because you are studying the quantitative relationship between reactants and products. If you have used some quantity of reactants and it is not converted completely into product, it means reaction is not stopped, reaction is progressing. So you can't study completely. That's why for stoichiometric calculations, you have to assume that all the reactants are converted into products. If this assumption is fulfilled, then you will be in a position to compare the number of moles or quantity of reactants and products, so you can perform stoichiometric calculations. And number two, there will be no side reaction. If no side reaction occurs, means if there is a side reaction, it will diminish lesser the quantity of product. So the actual quantity of product will be lessered and you cannot come across the actual value. So you have to assume that no side reaction is occurring along the main reaction. The side reaction will result in loss of product, so actual quantity will be diminished. So for stoichiometric calculation, dear students, you have to assume that all the reactants must be converted into products and no side reaction occurs. If these two assumptions are fulfilled, then you will be able to perform stoichiometric calculation. Similarly, for stoichiometric calculations, you have to obey two laws, which are law of conservation of matter and law of definite proportion. You all are aware of the fact that during any chemical reaction you cannot destroy or recreate completely matter, so matter remained conserved. So law of conservation of matter is always obeyed in stoichiometric calculation, and law of definite proportion means every component has a definite composition, definite proportion of atoms. For example, you have water. Water has formula of H2O, means it has 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. It is its composition, so which is definite and fixed. So definite proportion or definite composition means you have fixed composition and definite proportion. So law of definite proportion tells us that every component, every mixture, every element or every molecule is composed of definite amount of atoms or elements. So you have to obey the laws. If these two laws are not obeyed, then stoichiometric calculation will not be performed. Dear student, you have to keep in mind these concepts. If these two laws are obeyed and these two assumptions are fulfilled, then you will be able to perform stoichiometric calculation. Students, now we have types of calculations, means which type of calculation we can perform through the stoichiometry. Students, we consider all the conversions, all the calculations as interconversions. For example, if you are given the mass of a specific reactant or mass of different reactants, you can find the mass of products. Or if you are given the mass of products, you can find the mass of reactants. Similarly, if you are given mass of the reactant or product, you will be able to calculate moles and volume of the reactants or products. Similarly, if you are given the moles of reactants, you can find moles of products, or you are given moles of the products, you can find moles of the reactants. And if you are given the volume of reactant, you can find volume of the product. Similarly, if you are given the volume of product, you can find the volume of the reactants. So you can see here that you will be able to interconvert the reactants and products, the quantity of reactants and products. Quantity may be volume, may be mass, may be moles. So we consider them as interconversions. mass of reactants is given, then you can find mass of the products, and if mass of products is given, you can find mass of reactants, and so on. All these conversions are supposed to be interconversions of reactants and products in a balanced chemical reactions. So all of these types of interconversions are possible in stoichiometry, and during the stoichiometric calculations, which are discussed in the next lecture, you will observe how to interconvert mass to mass, or mass to volume, or mass to mole, etc. This is our first lecture. This is it for the first lecture. Hopefully you got all the concept. Thank you so much.